So today is part 2 of our 4-part series, 8 questions to ask before getting divorced. So today our 2 questions are, have I truly communicated why I'm unhappy? Specifically asked my spouse to change anything. And then after that, we're going to talk about, is there anything my spouse can do, say, change that would make me feel better about being in this marriage? So question number 1, have I truly communicated why I'm unhappy? Specifically asked my spouse to change anything. Elizabeth, how did you do on this one before you got divorced? Did you have that tough conversation?
Well, no, I did not do a real good job in this department on communicating to my husband, now my ex-husband, of what I wanted to see from him, uh, or actually what I wanted him to change and why I was so unhappy. But before I dig into that, I do want to mention that last time we talked about our behavior. So we didn't skip past that. If you missed it, go back and listen to that video. And so my husband, I I was very uncomfortable talking to him about things he did that bothered me and things that I wanted to change. It was easier for me to just avoid it and just assume that if I brought it up, there would be a fight, there would be a battle, or he would just shut me down right away. Um, so I guess you could say I was a coward because I didn't speak up for what was important to me. And I do think it's something that is really important for us to have the courage to do, because even if your guy is not doing anything bad or wrong, even if he is just that you're just out of sync and it's just not working, have the courage to have that conversation, because that conversation could change everything. It could enlighten him. Maybe he has no clue that things are the way they are. Maybe he has no clue that you're so unhappy because you do a fantastic job of putting on the pretty happy face and playing like you have the white picket fence and the perfect life. So give him a chance to have that conversation. Don't be like me.
Elizabeth, and that's something that I think as women, we really do need to own. We put it off that men are just terrible communicators. But when we're afraid of those tough conversations, we don't have them. We don't initiate them because we're afraid. Now, here's the thing. My first marriage, it was a starter marriage. I was young. I take that as my excuse. No, I never said what I needed. Maybe it was because I knew there was no way he'd ever do it. But I never said anything. And that was on me because I never said what I needed. My second marriage, yes, I did. I clearly told him what I needed to be happy, for us to continue to move on through life together. And unfortunately, it's those expectations that we set for conversations or situations that sometimes create bigger problems. So it's that fear of, what if I tell him and he doesn't do it? When actually, to me, that's a godsend, because when I told him what I needed, he told me it wasn't going to happen. And then I had my choice. I was able to make that decision. Sometimes a lot of women, and I have women, they leave and they finally have that conversation after they leave. And he's like, I'll do anything. I'll do anything. Let's make this work. And in those cases, yes, things can be fixed if you work together. But if you don't even ask those questions and you don't even give him the chance to say, hey, I'll do all of that, I just didn't realize. Or we'll do you the favor and answer the whole problem for you by saying, I'm not going to do that. I don't need to do that. And that's not who I am. And then you've got the answer to that question. So it's really worth asking, and then standing back and seeing how they respond, not only in the words they say, but in the actions. Because sometimes they say they won't do it, and they do. And sometimes they say they will do it, and they won't. So you've got to give it some time to find out how that's all going to play out.
So with that, if you have the courage to have the conversation, is there something that your spouse can do or can say or can change that would give you pause, that would give you reason to feel better about working on the marriage and staying in it? And with that, what about the men who think that they are doing everything? And maybe they are. Maybe they have rolled out the red carpet, treat her like a princess, and are going, like full 9 yards of being Mr. Wonderful, but you're still unhappy. Could there perhaps be a chance that maybe the stuff he is doing that he thinks is so amazing and wonderful, and it is, maybe it's not important to you, and maybe there's something else that is important to you? It's only fair to have that conversation.
That is a great point, Elizabeth, is having that conversation. And I would say this is one of those times in life where sometimes, like you just explained, they're doing everything they can to make you feel good, but you're not feeling it. If you've not read the 5 love languages, please order it, read it. The one misconception about the 5 love languages is there, 5 different ways, or how 4 or 5, I forget, that we communicate love, attraction, interest. You have physical touch, you have time and attention, you have words of affirmation, you have gifts, and you have acts of service. Okay. And here's the thing. People take that, read the book, and they take that quiz and they say, "Ooh, my love language is gifts and he's not giving me gifts, therefore he's failed." And I see it all the time. The whole purpose in reading that book is so that you can learn to recognize and understand all 5 languages. And if his language is gifts and he's giving you gifts and yours is gifts, life is hunky-dory. But as his is time and attention, and you're getting irritated because, quite frankly, he's all up in your business all the time, then you need to stop and rephrase that for yourself and say, wait a minute, this is his way of showing me love. This is his way of showing me love. And sometimes when we realize that's how they show us love, we realize that it's really not that big a problem. Once you understand that is their way of loving. And so it's about learning all 5 love languages so you can spot when you're being loved and being fluent in all of them. Because at some point or another, we all use each and every one of those love languages in our relationships. So there's that question. If you're not getting something, what would be the better alternative that you can share?
That book is a fantastic book for relationships, and I highly recommend it for everyone to read, because it does teach you a lot. It's eye-opening in such a way that you can now see what's happening and understand, oh, they're showing me love and affection because this is the way they do it. They're taking out the trash. They think they're loving me by taking out the trash. Well, it's because it's the acts of service that they feel loved in, which means you need to be showing acts of service to them in order for them to feel loved. And you need to be able to communicate what it is to you that makes you feel loved. I love that book. It's fabulous.
And the thing is, it's not just about you taking the test or him taking the test. With my husband, when we were first dating and talking about getting married, I got the book, I took the test, he took the test. And we sat down and we talked about what that meant to each of us. And we made it a practice in our relationship over the next year to say, do you feel loved? Am I showing you love in a way that works for you? And we checked in with each other. And it became kind of a running joke. And now we both know when things aren't in balance, to step back from it and look, because over time your love languages can change. You can learn that some things are more important to you than they were in the past, because it's just like boiled crawfish. If you love boiled crawfish, you only get it 3 months out of the year and you crave it. So if you're not getting something that you crave and then you start getting it, it may not be so important to you in the future, and something else becomes. So that's where I would suggest, make it a living part of your communication. Check in on yourself, check in on him. Do I feel like I'm being loved? And if not, that's on me to tell him, and ask him, does he feel loved?
I know of a couple that have a Sunday night meeting every week, and it's truly a meeting. And I don't know how long it lasts. Maybe it's only 15 minutes, but they literally have a check-in meeting. And of course, they've been cohabitating all week and going to work and doing house chores and all that, but they have a standing meeting every Sunday night to check in. And here's what they ask each other: how did I do this week? They don't say, here's what you did and what you didn't do and how you aggravated me. They said, how did I do? Did I meet your needs? Where did I fall short? How can I do better this week? I love that. And if I'm ever married again, I hope that my future husband will adopt doing something like that, because I think it's probably a recipe for a successful relationship.
Elizabeth, that was absolutely beautiful. And that is a recipe for a successful relationship. I'm working on my next book, and I'm interviewing couples that have been together for 50 years, 30 years, 40 years. And when they see each other, you still see their eyes light up. And as I hear their stories about what worked, that right there is the kind of thing that couples that stay together do.
Well, that wraps it up today, but be sure to go back and see the first 2 questions that we did last week, and stay tuned for the remaining 4 questions that are coming up in the weeks ahead. Be sure to give us a like and a subscribe, follow us, ring the bell so you get notified. See you next time.